Hello, beautiful beings, and welcome to your head noise episode of the day. We have some great questions that have been sent through. If you are new to the podcast, head noise are my listener question episodes. They are so great because so often you are able to take what you hear from someone else's story and the advice that I give, and you can apply it to your life, even if it's like quite a different situation. Some people hear dating advice and they think, wow, I could apply that kind of conversation to a problem I'm having with my parents or with my friends or whatever. So often when I give this advice, even if you're like, oh, that's not exactly my personal life situation, you'll still be able to, at the very least, look at your personal situation from a new, fresh perspective and hopefully feel a bit more empowered with what you can do about something that you're going through as well. So as always, awesome questions that have been sent through. This is an email head noise episode. I try and kind of split it up between email head noise episodes and also voicemail head noise episodes. So without wasting any more of anyone's time and fucking around, let's get straight into it. So this one is called Valid Boundary or Boundary Talk Bully. Okay, I'm very interested in what this is all about. Let's get into it. Hi, Alexis. I've been a big fan of the podcast for years and really appreciate the resources you shared that have helped me better myself and understand others better too. Thank you. My question today is about identifying the difference between a fair boundary being set versus the use of therapy talk to excuse unfair behavior. For context, a friend of mine was moving apartments, so myself and another friend went to help her. We all work together and know each other quite well, and this friend who was helping too had been going through a hard time with a boyfriend / deciding on a breakup, and we have spent a lot of time, weeks on weeks, being by her side and supporting her through this. On the day of the move, I noticed that the friend was more quiet than usual. Throughout the day, I checked in a few times with passing comments like, are you all good? How are you feeling? And things like that. I truthfully don't remember asking more than 3 times across the whole day, but I may have asked more than this. I know that someone checking in too much can be really annoying, so I try not to overstep. By dinner that night, I noticed that this friend wasn't engaging with me / talking to me at all. When it came time to leave, as she and I lived down the road from each other, she made an excuse not to travel home with me. Again, refused to make eye contact and would avoid being near me. I asked if I had upset her, and she said we would speak later. I saw her at work for the whole week following that and messaged her early on saying I was sorry for upsetting her. I wasn't sure what I had done, but I was all ears when she was ready to talk. She said she just needed space. Throughout the work week, she would leave the room / group if I walked in, would push past me without eye contact and refuse to acknowledge me at all, making the dynamic at work really uncomfortable as we have many mutual friends, including the friend that moved apartment and noticed this treatment too. I reached out again the next weekend expressing that I was struggling to comprehend the sudden change in dynamic and I really wanted to help rectify what it was that I had done, especially because work became a very unpleasant place. Again, she said she needed space. After about 2 weeks from the initial moving day, she reached out saying that she hopes I'm well and that she was just taking space and that her ignoring me / avoiding me wasn't disrespectful nor intended to be hurtful, but just her honouring her boundaries, and that for her to engage with me would have been inauthentic. She said I had annoyed her in the day by asking too much if she was okay, but that she didn't see it as something that needed to be a sit-down conversation. Rather, she just wanted some space. I explained that I completely understood why it would be frustrating and I apologized, but I mentioned that I would have really appreciated a heads up that I had been bothering her / doing something wrong before being plunged into complete silent treatment so that I could redirect my behavior or at least know what I had done, and that if it was something that wasn't important enough to warrant a conversation, I didn't understand the silent treatment response. She has said that she doesn't need to put the feelings of others before her own and act inauthentically to appease another person's feelings when she's honouring her own boundary of needing space. My question is, how to identify if this is a fair boundary on her part or if it's unfair treatment? I've always been a bit of a people pleaser and I'm struggling to know what is fair in this situation. Thank you so much. Okay, this is very interesting behavior, but let's look at, because we can break apart that her behavior was unfair, that she should have communicated better, that she should, but at the end of the day, we're not talking with her. We're talking about how you can do with this situation better, because at the end of the day, you cannot control ultimately somebody else's behavior. You can only control what you do with what you are dealt. Okay? So she is saying that this is her boundary. This is what she needs to do to protect herself. Whether you agree with that or not is absolutely irrelevant. You now need to decide, am I okay with this being a dynamic in the friendship? Or do I also need to step back? Because what you're wanting is a label, but you don't need a label. Oh, is it being unfair? You asked, how to identify if this is a fair boundary? It doesn't matter if it's fair or not. If she deems it to be a boundary, then that's on her, if that makes sense. So, for example, if someone spoke to, let's say my friend did that to me personally and just didn't want to communicate, was happy doing the silent treatment for weeks, and I was really close with them. Let's say it's one of my Red Bull girls, was happy doing that like silent treatment for weeks, and then turns around saying, oh, this is just my boundary. This is just how this is just me. This is just whatever. I would be like, okay, if that's honestly how you feel, I will take that for face value and I will proceed accordingly. And how I would proceed accordingly would be, I need to just remove myself a little bit from this friendship. I need to be less concerned about, like little like hints that I pick up along the way. I need to be less, quote unquote, like in your face about certain things. I'm just going to pry less. I'll ask less. Obviously, you think that me asking questions is going to be, imposing or whatever. That's not what I want to do. But I also need to protect my space. And if me just asking a friend a simple question without them being able to say, babe, you've asked me that already 3 times, please stop it. Like sometimes friends have asked me, are you okay, too many times? And I'm like, honestly, I'm actually okay. But if you ask me one more time, I'm not going to be okay. Like I'm happy to just literally pull people up, especially if they're friends, because I can be a bit blunt with them. But to give someone a silent treatment for 2 weeks based on that, I find that that's exaggerated. So if someone's going to do that with me, then it's up to me to decide what boundaries I need to put in place so I don't have to deal with that again. Does that make sense? So what you're trying to establish is this a fair boundary? Is this not a fair boundary? Is this whatever? All you can do is look at that behavior and say whether she thinks it's fair or not is really not my problem. What I need to do is looking at that behavior after I've already tried to apologize, speak, because you've done everything I would first recommend, which is you've reached out, you've tried to talk to her, you've acknowledged that maybe your behavior was annoying. You've done all of that. So normally I would recommend you do that, but you've done that. So moving past that point, I would then think, okay, what do I have to do so I don't find myself in this situation again, or so that I feel like I'm protecting myself so I don't feel like someone's trying to manipulate me emotionally by doing a silent treatment for 2 weeks, okay? If someone were to do a silent treatment with me after I had reached out and asked, and their response was, oh, it's just that I'm protecting my space and, all this stuff that she's saying, it would have been inauthentic to engage with me, I'll say, I'll fucking show you inauthentic my asshole, okay? Like if someone's going to do that to a friend, I'll be like, cool, take your inauthenticity somewhere else. I personally would just give less to this friend, no offense. Like I would just give less. And it's not about pride, it's not about whatever, because you reached out, you apologized, you did everything you wanted to do, and now they're saying, oh, engaging with you is inauthentic. Like, no problem. I'll put my energy elsewhere. Instantly, I'll start putting my energy into other friends. I'll still be polite. I'll still hang out with you in a group. I'll still do all of that. But if you now want to have the friendship that we have the potential of having, the ball's in your court. I don't need to be chasing you down, especially after you said that me asking you questions made you feel inauthentic. I'm not going to fucking make you feel uncomfortable now that you've expressed that that's your boundary. So I'm just going to tap out. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to peacefully and not in it, and you're not going to be catty about it either. You're not going to be sarcastic. You're not going to be shitty. You're not going to be bitchy. You're just going to put more of your energy into your other friendships, okay? And then you're still going to be nice. You're still going to be polite. But if she wants more of that intimacy again, it's got to come from her end, because when you tried, she threw it in your face, okay? So it's up to you now to put your boundaries in place. we get caught up and tangled up in policing if other people's boundaries are fair or not. But a boundary is a boundary, whether you deem it to be fair or not. If that's what makes her feel happy and protected, who are we to judge, right? But your responsibility is to determine what your boundary is so you feel safe and protected emotionally and you don't have to be put in that situation again. So in my opinion, without being shitty or without being vindictive, I would literally just be like, you know what, can't love you so much, but I'm just going to peacefully tap out a little bit because I really don't understand where you're coming from. And the best thing I can do is allow you to be who you need to be. And I'm going to do the same for myself. And then if it circles back and she's like, I was having a fucking moment, apologies, then great. But if she like digs her heels in and says, oh, in authenticity, if I talk to you, whatever, then also, I don't know about you, but you also don't want a friendship where you're walking on eggshells, where you ask one question and it equals 2 weeks for silent treatment. That's not on. Next question. All right. Hi, Alexis. I absolutely love your podcast and would love your help. I'm having a bit of a life/career dilemma. I currently live in Brisbane and genuinely love the life I've built here. My friends, my gym, my apartment, my weekends, my routines, etc. The only piece that's missing is my career. I'm in the process of joining the police force, which I'm excited about and hope will become my long-term career. Right now, I'm in a corporate job that pays the bills but isn't fulfilling, and it's not something I want to do long-term. The challenge is that there's a chance I could be posted to a rural area in Queensland once I join the police. It would mean leaving the life I love in Brisbane, but it would also mean starting my dream career and potentially fast-tracking opportunities by going regional. I'd be so grateful for any advice on what to consider when weighing up a decision like this, especially when both options feel meaningful in different ways. Thank you. Yeah, look, this is really difficult. I think a lot of people find themselves, this also happens with a lot of teaching jobs and like medical jobs as well, where in order to get further in your career or even to enter that in certain situations, it's even entering requires time regional, in those regional towns and stuff. And that's really, really hard. But you acknowledge, and you clearly do acknowledge it, and most people acknowledge it, that is part of having the career that you want to have. It's kind of like you can't have one without the other. Like if you want to be in the police force, you acknowledge that this is almost inevitable to an extent, okay? So the way you could look at it, there's 2 ways you can look at it. The first one is not ideal, and the second one, it could be a bit more optimistic. So the first one is to say, you know what, I've weighed everything up, and no matter what, I'm not willing to go regional. I'm not willing to give this up. As much as I would love to be a police officer, and that's my dream career, being 2 years or I don't know how long, maybe it's 3 years, I don't know how long you need to be regional for. Being away for that long would absolutely destroy me. There's no way I can do it. I need to find another career where I'm going to be equally as fulfilled or slightly less fulfilled, but I'm in the city that I love. And you have to cut your losses. You have to weigh it up and be willing to say goodbye to something, okay? Or the other option is, in the scheme, time is going to pass anyway, right? And in the scheme of life, I know in my heart of hearts that this is the career for me. Like I know it. I know that I would love doing it. It would be the most fulfilling thing. But the payoff is that I have to sacrifice 2 or so. Again, I'm just throwing arbitrary numbers out there. I don't know how long you have to be gone for. But let's say 2 years out of a city that I love, my routines, my everything. I've got to kind of give that up for about 2 years. And that's going to be really, really hard. But like I said, time is going to pass anyway. And you are also going to experience things while you're there as well. It's not like you're putting your life completely on hold where nothing is happening for those 2 years. You are going to miss Brisbane, but you are also going to have experiences and you're going to meet people and you're going to make brand new friendships, brand new bonds with people that you don't even know exist yet. It might not be glamorous. It might not be as like your ideal life, but it is a time in your life where you can be like, you know what? I bit the bullet, went regional, had to say goodbye temporarily to a city in our life that I love, and I did it. And I grew and I learned so much. And yes, it was hard, but those 2 years passed anyway, right? Whether I was putting in the hard yards and getting that shit done or whether I wasn't. I could still go back and visit. And for the most part, after the 2 years, I was able to return to Brisbane. And while a couple of things would have changed here and there, ultimately, it's still the same city. I can still have my same friends, my same gym, my same everything with the career that I love. So in my opinion, I say go regional and do it. if you know that this is a career you want to do, make the sacrifice and do it, because it's very daunting from the perspective that you're at now, looking up at the hill that you have to climb. But try and look at it from the other perspective. Try and look at it 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line. And you'll probably look at those 2 years that you went regional with really kind eyes, being like, that was a fucking time. That was a fucking experience. There were some hard times. There were some really funny times. There were some testing times. There were some beautiful times, right? And like one of my best friends, she's been on the podcast, Renee. She's a teacher. Well, not anymore. She's retired and now she runs her own business, but she used to be a teacher. And she went regional for 3 years up in Arakoon in far north Queensland, to a very regional town. And I remember when she was leaving and everyone was like, fuck, you know, like you got such a good network here, everything's so good and you're going to go regional and this and that. She chose to stay that 3rd year. She could have come back after 2. She was so embedded in it, surprised that she even liked it, because she is very much a Sunshine Coast girl and really loved her life on the sunny coast. But she's like, I'm going to do 1 more year because I'm already here. And this is a fucking experience I'll never get again, ever. And so she extended for another year. So that's what I mean. It's like you might be pleasantly surprised. And what did Renee do? She then moved back to her hometown that she fucking loves, with her friends, with her gym routine, with everything, and it all worked out. So I would say if you know that this is the career for you, you do it. Do it, do it, do it. And always, every time you doubt it, think of yourself 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, being like, thank God I did those 2 years. It was hard, but I fucking did it because then I got the career that I wanted to have. The alternative of that is not doing it because you're in this nice, a nice life that you've built for yourself, knowing that you still have that career dream. You said the only thing that's not clicking is my career. You're not happy with anything but wanting to be a police officer. So you will live in regret if you don't do this thing, because you know the answer. You just know that it requires a lot of unpleasant changes, but you already know the answer, and we regret the things we don't take action on. It's rarely the things we take action on. You're not going to regret going, but you will regret not going. Okay? So go. Next question. The title of this one is His Friend Turned on Me. Now I'm the villain. Oh, this is juicy. Okay. Hi, Alexis. Love all your potties. You're an absolute legend. I would love your advice on a friendship I no longer feel great about. For an overview, my boyfriend, who I trust and absolutely believe has the biggest heart, had a best friend for multiple years. I got along with his friend really well until we started dating. This friend has a girl in his life who ticks every box from your energy vampire episode, and she was my friend too. When I tried to talk to her about some nasty things she was doing to try and resolve it and let her know how it made me feel, she flipped on me and turned this guy against me. It was horrible, and it made me sad yet strong in getting out of that friendship. People witnessed some of the mean things she was doing to me, so it wasn't just a me vision, not that it necessarily matters. Now the friend hates me and has distanced himself from my boyfriend because of me. My boyfriend has reached out a few times. They've even had a talk where they agreed to keep their friendship and not involve the girls in that discussion. But after that, the friend keeps just distancing himself from my boyfriend again and making my boyfriend sad. They ran into each other, and my kind boyfriend, of course, showed nothing but kindness and extended the olive branch yet again to see if he wanted to catch up. This is making me anxious. I feel deep down this guy has a good heart, but it honestly hurt a lot being switched on when he even admitted I'd done nothing to him directly. I want to be supportive of the people who matter to my boyfriend, but this friend has now just been hateful to me when we really got along like a house on fire. But he switched on me based on the lies the girl told him. He's also been distant to my boyfriend, who's done nothing but try to be kind to him. Is this something I should support? What would you do? And if you think I have to let go and let him do what he wants, how can I be supportive but not feel so anxious about what the friend thinks/says about me? How can I stop caring about what other people think and say about me? The girl turned everything upside down because I stood up for myself. She used to call me soft, so she was taken aback when I stood strong instead of caving to her yelling and her attacking. Seems she couldn't control me, so she controlled how people saw me instead. I'd appreciate any thoughts you have on this, because I don't want to stop my boyfriend from doing what he wants to do, but I'm so anxious now. I actually don't think you're stopping your boyfriend from doing what he wants to do. It seems like you've fully encouraged your boyfriend to maintain a friendship with this guy. And it is the guy that's not interested in having a friendship with your boyfriend. There's nothing that you can do. You could say to your boyfriend, fucking go out, go on a holiday with this guy, and the guy probably wouldn't agree to it. So I honestly think you have zero control right now in the outcome of what's going on. What I think is going on is that rightfully or wrongfully, fairly or unfairly, between that couple, the girl and your boyfriend's friend, they have worked themselves up. They don't like you. They've created a narrative that they believe. Like I said, it doesn't matter. If it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. It's not relevant to what I'm about to say. The point is that they have an idea in their head that is dictating, or this friend, I should say, he has an idea in his head that is dictating how close he wants to be with your boyfriend and with you. And whether he believes this girl, like obviously he believes what this girl is saying. And normally you do believe your partner, okay? It sucks, but they're dating. He's not going to be like, oh yeah, my girlfriend's a psycho. I'm still going to be your friend, but like everything she says is a lie. Obviously he believes so. If he thought she was a straight up liar, the likelihood of them even being together would kind of lower, if you know what I mean. Like it wouldn't really make sense. So he believes her. He buys into this, what she tells him, what they discuss. They emotionally buy into it. And so it skews how he feels towards your boyfriend. Now, there's nothing that you can do about it, nor should there be, really. If you've assessed your behavior and you can comfortably say, nah, I've calmed down, I've simmered down, I can look at my behavior and I genuinely think that I was fair, I was in the right, I was just standing up for myself, whatever, there's nothing I really have to apologize for. If you can comfortably say that, then there's really nothing that you can do. Because if you thought that you were the dog in the situation, you could reach out, you could apologize, all of that, but that's not really the case. As far as your boyfriend is concerned, it sucks for him that his friend has pulled away, but again, it's really not your boyfriend's, like in your boyfriend's control. So for example, if my friend and I had a really good friendship and both our boyfriends had a blowout and that affected my friend not talking to me or not wanting to see me, that's really on her. It's really going to be on her. So if you were to flip the tables around and think if your friend's going to be doing that to you and distancing yourself because they don't trust what's been said or whatever, then unfortunately it is the decay of a friendship because someone's got to believe someone. This guy's choosing to believe his girlfriend. He's choosing to side with her. He's choosing to see her side of things. He's choosing to emotionally distance himself further and further and further. And if I were both of you, I would just let it lie. I would just let it be. I wouldn't be forcing it anymore. You've reached out, your boyfriend's reached out, he's tried to make it work, he's tried to make a friend, and I think it's just one of those situations where this friendship, at least temporarily, is taking a hiatus, okay? So I know it's hard for your boyfriend, but at the same time, this is a personality trait of that friend. You know, you've done nothing wrong, and I'm sure your boyfriend knows that. So as sad as he is, it's not about it being your fault or whatever, it's because his friend can't rationalize and see that he still has value in the friendship with your boyfriend. Honestly, there's nothing that you should do. I would do absolutely nothing in your situation because if someone doesn't want to be my friend, the last thing I'm going to do is force them to be my friend. If someone has, people will reject you 1,000 times before they have to reject you verbally. 1,000 times. And we allow ourselves to be rejected again and again and again. If someone has shown, based on their actions, that they're not interested in seeing you, they're not interested in reaching out the olive branch, they're not interested in accepting your apology or accepting your peace offering, they're not interested in reaching out to you, instigating, initiating, none of that, repeatedly, right? That is a rejection. So I know it's hard, but what your boyfriend needs to understand is that he has been rejected by his friend and he needs to accept that. If the friend then later on down the line turns around and says, whoa, I was such an idiot, I'm so sorry, I was blinded to blah, 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 then it's up to your boyfriend if he wants to be like, yeah, cool, I accept your apology, we can be friends again, or not. But that's an issue or a problem of the future if that ever does happen. But what's happening right now is that you are being told, your boyfriend is being told repeatedly, I'm not interested in this friendship. And you need to accept that, okay? You need to accept that. Because pushing against rejection, like why would you force someone to want to be your friend? Crazy behavior. Don't do it. Okay, next question. Last question for the episode. His mum hates me is the title. Love the title. All right. Hi, Alexis. I know you probably hear this often, but I truly appreciate your podcast and your perspective on life. Your insights has been incredibly valuable to me, so I'm grateful for the knowledge you share. Thank you. I'm reaching out because I'd love your input on handling family influence in a relationship. My boyfriend and I have been together for a little over a year, and we're both 28. About 5 months into our relationship, he told me that his mother doesn't like me, despite never having met me. At the time, I didn't dwell on it, as he reassured me that she takes time to warm up to new people and that things would change once she got to know me. However, as time has passed, her disapproval seems to have intensified. She frequently questions his whereabouts, they live together, and he faces almost daily arguments with her when he comes to see me. To this day, I still haven't met her. From what my boyfriend has shared, her concerns seem to stem from from the fact that I'm on a visa, well, he's Australian born, that I'm physically distant from my family, and that I don't fit her idea of a suitable partner, someone with a full-time career rather than studying full-time. Fast forward to now, and I'm seeing how much this is affecting our relationship. He's been seeing me less often, sometimes going 3 weeks or more without making time for a date or even a simple hangout, even though we live just 10 minutes apart. He often seems exhausted, and whenever I bring up concerns about our connection, he withdraws and asks for space. He sleeps through most of his free days and barely does the hobbies that made him light up. Recently, we had a conversation where he admitted to feeling overwhelmed. His mother had given him an ultimatum: either end our relationship and remain loyal to the family, or she would take steps to alienate him from them. Oh, so much to say to this. While I deeply empathize with how difficult this must be for him, I don't want to feel like I'm in a battle for our relationship, especially when I'm not sure if he truly wants to fight for it himself. I care about him deeply, and I'd love to navigate this situation with him rather than against him. However, I also don't want to pressure him into choosing between me and my family. I'd love to hear your perspective on how to handle this dynamic in a way that respects both his position and my well-being. Looking forward to your thoughts. I hate to say this to you because it sounds like you're trying to be a really peaceful person, but you fucking need to run for the hills and get the fuck away from that family immediately without hesitation. Okay? It sounds harsh, but if that man doesn't have a spine to stand up to his mother and say, "Cunt, you don't own me. I am a grown man, 28 for fuck's sake. I'm a grown man. And if you're going to police who I date, you're alienating yourself out of my life." Okay? This is the crazy this mummy's boy, like weird vibes, weird fucking vibes. I can tell you right now, if he managed to somehow balance this fine line where he's appeasing his mum and getting to keep you in his life, you are going to suffer for the rest of your life. You are going to be stuck dating that woman for the rest of your fucking life. Get out of there. Get rid of him, get rid of her. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen to very close friends of mine, and it has eroded at them. It has eroded. And eventually it still breaks up the relationship anyway. And they walk away feeling so lost and hurt. They pour their heart and soul into it. They try and make their partner feel so loved, but their mum just won't accept. This has nothing to do with you being on a visa. This has nothing to do with you not, like, bullshit. And the reason for that is, how can you dislike somebody when you haven't met them? She doesn't like that you are. It's the typical that mum-son weird fucking dynamic that some mothers have, where they think that it's like, I'm the only woman in your life. Like, get a life, cunt, and get a purpose, for starters, to the mother, not to you. And also those women that cannot, or those mothers that cannot acknowledge that when their son finds love, when their son finds a healthy relationship, that's actually a good thing. They look at it as a threat. Obviously, this woman finds her purpose and her identity as being his mother, and she's looking at you, no matter who you are, as a threat. So it's really something that will probably never change. And there's probably no woman on this earth that could swoop on in and make the mother feel comfortable, because unless he just didn't love that woman. And therefore the mother still feels like the number one woman in his life. She wants to be the number one woman in his life. So the only solution is for him to be with someone who's a fucking doormat that he doesn't love. And how sad is that? You know, like, and also, do you want to date a man or do you want to date a boy? Because he's acting like a little bitch at this point, okay? Get a backbone, cunt. And the reason I say this is because if it worked out with him, imagine when you have fucking children. Who's he prioritizing? His mother or you? You and the children, or I'm being outed from the family. I'm being like, what? And another thing, the fact that she's threatened to, here we go. What does it say? Is it because I need to quote it because it's just craziness. You said his mother has given him an ultimatum. Either end our relationship and remain loyal to the family. What do you mean remain loyal to the family? What has dating somebody got to do with loyalty to your family? Also, when you're an adult, you are starting a new family. This is what a lot of parents, psychopathic parents, can't grasp. His new family is you, and if you choose to have kids, the kids. That's the new family. You can still have a very close relationship with your parents, but your new like insular family is your partner and your children. So she doesn't want to let go of that. She's not willing to allow him to live his fucking life like a normal human being. So she's giving him an ultimatum, loyal to the family. So there's the guilt. Or she will take steps, she says she will take steps to alienate him from them. If my family, and I'm very close with my family, if my family ever pulled that stunt on me, I would say, you know what? Go ahead. Try and alienate me from my family. You can alienate yourself from my life, but I'm still going to have a relationship with my other parent, with my siblings, with my cousins, with my aunties and uncles. It's your fucking problem. If you don't want to be in my life, be my guest. Again, just like I said with the last piece of advice, if someone has rejected you, allow them to walk away. Facilitate the rejection. Why are you making yourself struggle? If someone doesn't want to be in your life, honestly, congratulations. I'm making it so fucking easy for you. I'm not going to stand in your way. However, they can't dictate anything else about alienating you from the family unless the rest of the family are a bunch of fucking psychopaths as well. And if that's the case, why is it worth even having a relationship with them? But at the end of the day, this has nothing to do with him because he's not standing here asking for advice. This man has no spine, and you're going to bear the brunt of the fact that he has no spine for the rest of your life if you choose to be with him. End it now. Leave is what I would do. And I normally don't give such brutal advice, but I'm telling you right now, you are staring down the barrel of a very unhappy marriage, very unhappy relationship. You are going to be, I can't think of anything worse. Run for the hills and find, and also him sleeping all day, not seeing you for 3 weeks. Get away from this cunt. Get away. I can't think of anything worse. I'm just like vividly picturing one of my very close friends who had a very similar situation to you. She's now moved on to a much healthier, much more fun, much better relationship. But at the time, it was just simply awful. And she put up with so much shit. And he would always be like, yeah, no, my mum really doesn't like you. But every Sunday, let's go and spend hours and hours and hours at her house knowing that you're uncomfortable. He had no spine. And then he ended up leaving her because he just couldn't handle the fact that the mum was so unhappy. And now it's been years and he's living back at home attached to like her fucking teat. I don't know. Anyway, so get away is all I have to say. Get away from this man. Guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I got very passionate there, but needed to be done. If you want to send in your questions, email info@dyfmpod.com and have me scream at you like I just did. Or you can send in a voice note as well. Just go on to www.dyfmpod.com and there's a little link there and you can send in a little voice message to me. Love this so much. Hopefully you can apply this to your life and cut the dead weight whenever necessary and not deal with fucked in-laws. There are some really good in-laws out there. Don't waste your time with shit ones. Do not waste your time with shit ones because you one day, like you'll leave this relationship. And this is not just you, but anyone who's in a similar situation. And then one day you'll be in a situation with really healthy in-laws, really healthy relationships where you actually love them. And you'll be like, how the fuck was I contemplating settling for in-laws that hated me? Like, how is this a thing? Because if you're going to be in a dynamic where your in-laws hate you and your partner's okay with that, your partner is the problem. Big time. Anyway, that is all for today. Love you guys so much. As always, remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to your brain. Don't take shit from anyone, and especially don't take shit from yourself. Danke.